Okay, this is going to be my short video review of the Hiya Toys 1 to 18th scale Judge Dredd and Judge Death figures. So earlier this year, or late last year, I forget, Hiya Toys, which is a mainland Chinese toy manufacturer who make a lot of 1 to 18th scale figures for Aliens, Alien, Predator, and several other franchises. I think Robocop, they've got Robocop figures coming soon. Anyway, the Judge Dredd toys were supposed to come out at the beginning of this year. There were various COVID-related supply chain issues, from what I understand, and so the release has been kind of pushed back to September. However, they did release this limited edition set at San Diego Comic-Con 2022, limited to 3,000 pieces. This is the Judge Dredd and Judge Death 1 to 18th scale figures. So being 1 to 18th scale, they're somewhere between 3.5 to 4 inches tall. So Hiya Toys calls this their exquisite mini line. So I have actually opened this. You can see the packet's torn, but I just want to show you what the packaging is like. So this limited edition set, the figures are painted in kind of black and white to replicate the original Judge Death storyline, which was black and white. So I like this packing. It's kind of blister packing. You've got, I'll show you here. You've got on the card is actually Judge Dredd's helmet. On the back, you've got a picture of Dredd, which I think is drawn by the Dredd artist Colin McNeil, I think. So inside, opening it up, we have basically two layers. We have one layer with the figures, and we have one layer with the accessories. So we'll talk about a bit about the accessories first. So you get these two stands, which are, I think, really cool. They've got these bones on the floor, which is supposed to be, I guess, replicate Judge Death's homeworld of Dead World, where Judge Death ruled all life is a crime and killed all the inhabitants. Both of these bases have a single peg on it. I'm not sure if you can see it here. One there and one here, which plugs into a hole on Judge Dredd's foot. So we also have then this tray here, which we open up, and we have our accessories. So we have, see if we can see these, two additional hands for Judge Death. We have Judge Dredd's day stick. We have the Lawgiver Mark I. I'll try and do a close-up of this. So this is actually a pretty nice sculpt. See if we get the camera to focus on there. So you have the upper and lower magazines, the targeting sight at the back, the ammo selector dial. You even have the two little rectangular markings on the grip. We can get the camera to focus just there, which I think are supposed to be the fingerprint readers. You need to be careful about this. I think it's PVC. See, the barrel's a bit thin, so be careful when handling this, because I can imagine this may be relatively easy to snap off. One thing I don't like about this is the other side of the gun. They kind of have it as this round bulge here on the other side of the ammo selector. I would have preferred this would have been flat. It should be flat rather than kind of round and bulged, and should actually have a kind of marking on the side as well. But anyway, not too bad. I do wish they had included a Lawgiver Mark II, and maybe also the new Carlos Esquera Lawgiver Mark III as well, although it wouldn't be correct for the timeline of the original Judge Dredd or Judge Death storyline, but still would have been a nice inclusion. We also get another hand for Dredd. Actually, this is one of the hands that came on the figure. I've already swapped it out with the pistol holding hand. I'll just try and show the hands for Death close up. See if we can get the camera to focus. using my phone camera, so it's not the greatest. So the hands just attached by a hole in the bottom. There's a peg that comes out of the wrist, so you just pull the hands off, put the new hands on. You also get in the packing these 4H pieces, and these are used to connect the bases together. You have these slots, 2 slots per side, so depending on how you want to connect the bases, whether it's by the short side or long side, you just plug in the H pieces and connect your 2 bases together. So I'm presuming the other 2 H's are just spares in case you lose or break these, or perhaps some of the coming later figures will also include bases that you can join together. So the last accessory we haven't shown is Dredd's day stick. So pretty simple. Right, taking out the figures. So I'm actually really impressed with the sculpt and painting on these. Now I will say, out of the box, mine came with the helmet sitting too far up and kind of wonky at an angle, which I was a bit disappointed at. But I found just with some gentle prying, the helmet is just kind of held on by a small dab of glue. You can take it off, so that's what Dredd looks like underneath. Pretty nice face sculpt actually. And then you can push the helmet down further so it's nice and centered and lower and covers his nose, and I think that looks much better, much better. Right, so we have the, so the chain is not a separate piece, molded on, badge is glued on. Both the shoulder pads, the standard shoulder pad and the eagle shoulder pad, actually attach to the body by 2 pegs. Actually, sorry, correct that. The standard shoulder pad attaches by 2 pegs, which you can see here, which just plug into holes in the chest and the shoulder. Won't want to be taking these out too many times because I'm not sure how durable the pegs are. The shoulder pad seems to be some sort of PVC material, so it should last a while. I think the eagle shoulder pad is just pegged in by a single peg or glued onto the shoulder. I haven't tried to pull it out. So elbow pads can rotate around the elbow. I'll see if we can do that here. You can see here. So articulation, we've got on the elbow not quite a 90-degree bend, because blocked by the elbow pad. Let's see if I can push the elbow pad a bit higher. No, not quite a 90-degree bend. So as I mentioned, the hand is kind of on a peg with a ball, so you've got rotation, you've got a bit of movement there. You've got a torso joint here with some wiggle. That can also rotate 360. So legs from the front, we can kind of kick up this high, not the greatest. Knee, we got a good bend though. Foot is on a joint, but yeah, it can rotate 360, and you've got a few degrees of side to side and back to forth movement, but not much. So joints, I will say, are joint tightness, I would say, is adequate. They're not too loose and floppy. They're not too tight also that you feel you're having to use force to move the joints. So they do move pretty easily, but the figure can hold a pose, which is good because I hate floppy figures that you can't pose. Head. Okay, so the head obviously can rotate 360. There's a little bit of wiggle there, but not much. One thing I have found is you can't actually do a two-handed aiming pose. You can't, quite difficult to get the hands close enough together to do a two-handed aiming pose. Single-handed aiming pose, obviously, no problem. Just drop the day stick on the floor there. So figure holds the lawgiver quite nicely. The finger can actually go into the trigger guard. Let's see if I can find where did I put that day stick. So the figure can stand by itself. Now I'm using a pretty slippery table here, but yeah, there he goes, it stands by himself. Now let me just see if I can find that day stick. Where did that roll off to? And there we go. So, yep, put the day stick in the hand. Oh, shoulder pad fell off there. Yeah, that's one thing I have found. If you move the arm around too much, it can force the shoulder pad out of alignment. So let's try and get the pegs back in the hole. Get the day stick back in the hand. And there we go. And just for size comparison, we're going to put him next to a, sorry, let's move these over, put him next to a sand trooper. So not too bad. So like I said, I'm pretty impressed by this. I would have preferred a bit better articulation, but for the scale it's not bad. The painted on, or the molded in details, sculpted on details, I think are really nice. The belt pouches, the eagle belt buckle, Dredd's badge. There's some, a bit of wash or weathering on there. Like I said, not 100% happy with the bold sculpt of the right side of the lawgiver, but it's okay. Helmet sculpt is really nice. They've got the lightning bolt reflections on the visor. They've also got these 2 white dots here, which I guess are supposed to also be light reflection. So I am really looking forward actually to seeing the other figures in the line, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do with the 1 to 12th line, if Hiya Toys actually do decide to go ahead with it, because since the initial announcement, although they've announced a slew of these 1 to 18th scale figures, they haven't made any further announcements about the 1 to 12 scale. So moving on to the second figure in the line. So Judge Death in his spirit form, so which is when Death's physical body has been destroyed and he gasses out of the body in this kind of ghostly spirit gaseous form until he can occupy a new physical body. So the publicity shots that Hiya Toys posted of this, they had Death wrapping around Dredd, which is from I think either an iconic cover, 2000 AD cover, or scene from the story. It's a while since I read it, so I can't remember. Yeah, you can do that. The tail here is kind of a flexible material, so you can actually adjust it. And I haven't tried this, and I'm not going to try it on video wrapping round. There's plenty of other videos that have shown it, or photos that have shown it. But you can wrap it round, and you can actually get Death standing by himself freely using that. One thing I'll show about Dredd is his foot plugging into the hole on the base. Yeah, you can get him plugged in there. I've just dropped his day stick. Yeah, that's one thing. The could have used a better holding hand for the day stick, more, with fingers more curved around it. At the moment, it's kind of like a semi-open hand, so it'll hold the day stick, but not that well. But good enough. So we show Death. So again, really nice sculpt. The helmet, the visor, the shoulder pads, I think all really good. Again, arm articulation is a bit limited. You can easily pop off the shoulder pads. Again, this pterodactyl shoulder pad is held on by the 2 pegs. Also, the bone shoulder pad, also held on by two pegs that plug into the chest and the back. So again, you've got some really nice detail there. Kind of, you see his spine, belt pouch is nice, belt buckle's nice. Again, so articulation, we kind of got 360 degrees rotation of the arm without the shoulder pads. We got about a 90-degree bend, not quite, just nearly a 90-degree bend on the elbows. The hands can rotate. The head can also rotate. A little bit of kind of front and forward wiggle, side to side wiggle, but not much. You can rotate the kind of smoke trail. So yeah, really nicely sculpted, not bad. Let's just put this back, and they look really good posing next to each other. There we go, we've got the pterodactyl shoulder pad back on, and then we've got the eagle shoulder pad back on. Just got to make sure those pegs get into the holes. Get in there. Make sure they're pushed in. And there we go. So overall, what do I think about these figures? I like it. I've wanted some smaller scale Dredd figures for a long time. We've had the more expensive 3A and Mezco figures, which are really nice, but obviously the line was limited. And I do like with the Hiya Toys line, they've already announced Anderson, Hershey, a Clegg, Judge Cal, Judge Giant, a Lawmaster. Really hoping we get a Cursed Earth Coben figure as well, Mechanismo figure, Spike's Hardly Rotten. There's a whole slew of figures, Angel Gang, that they could do, Trapper Hag, Orlok, etc. So I'm really hoping they expand the line. They're fairly affordable. The sculpt is nice. The articulation is reasonable but not great. But I think the sculpt and detailing is good. Some people have complained that Dredd's helmet is a bit small for his head, and yeah, maybe, but it's a nice sculpt. I think it looks good. Alright, so that is my short review, or not so short, 18-minute review of the Hiya Toys 1/18 scale Exquisite Mini Judge Dredd and Judge Death black and white version. Alright.